it's Nicole and Rue. Welcome back to our channel. For today's video, we are pretending that it is not in fact Halloween season and it is still summer, and we are swatching the OPI Trip to the Bright Side collection. This is OPI's Summer 2026 collection. I had meant to review this quite a few months ago, which I feel like keeps happening with OPI.
I don't apologize because I never make, mistakes.
I did receive these polishes in gifted PR from BeyondPolish.com. If you would like to pick up this release, Beyond Polish has the entire collection available. Because we are in the later end of summer, I have noticed that this collection has been going on sale both on the Beyond Polish website as well as all the other places where OPI is sold. If you want to pick this up from Beyond Polish, you can use my affiliate code, which is Nicole Loves Nails. Thank you for snoring, Rue. This collection is also discounted at Ulta, Amazon, all the places where OPI is sold. OPI's spring collection was remixed versions of their older polishes. I do believe that for all the polishes in this collection, that these are all new shades to OPI. So as always, in the description box, links where you can pick these polishes up, website, social media pages, my social media pages, and of course, timestamps as well. Let's just get right into this video. We're gonna be going in rainbow order because this release does indeed make a rainbow. So the first polish up is called Go With The Floatie. I would describe this color as a bright pink shade that is a little bit cooler in tone. Go With The Floatie had a really nice formula. This one was slightly on the thinner side, but not too thin, not like watery thin, just like thinner than I was anticipating. I do find that for this particular formulation, this is more crelly leaning than like a true creamly like we usually think of for OPI's cream shades. So because it's more crelly leaning, it is a little bit more sheer, especially on those first two coats. I'm going to call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on preference and application style. For my live swatch, I will however be swatching it in 3 coats. I had this too much unevenness in 2 to call it good, so I added a 3rd coat. This is a beautiful, really bright tone of pink. I really like this color for summer. Go With The Floatie is a really beautiful color. I feel like the only thing that makes this really different in my mind from other OPI like pink cream shades is just that this one has more of a crelly lean. I didn't find that it didn't have that nice like squishy look that sometimes crelly shades have. It didn't have the squishiness kind of vibe. It just was a more sheer cream. Super easy removal because it is a cream crelly shade. The next polish up is called If You Like Pinka Coladas. I would describe If You Like Pinka Coladas as a medium toned pink that has a kind of, I'm still undecided if I think this one is a larger particle size shimmer or a really small flake, but it's a silvery whitish color flake. We're gonna see this a lot coming up in this release. Formula on If You Like Pinka Coladas was pretty good. This is another kind of crelly leaning shade. I feel like they made the base on this one just like a little bit more sheer, just so you could really easily see that shimmer flake kind of thing. This is going to be another polish that I would recommend in 2 to 3 coats. It's a really pretty tone of pink. Admittedly, this doesn't really do anything for me, but I could really see somebody vibing with this. Whether or not you do 2 or 3 coats for this polish, in my opinion, I think is going to come down to how you feel about visible nail line. I found on the 3rd coat that definitely covered up visible nail line. In my opinion, I thought coverage was pretty good in 2 coats, but it was still a bit more on the sheer side. I feel that if I wasn't trying to see if this one got perfectly opaque, I probably would have stopped in 2 coats for personal wear, but my live swatch is going to be showing this one in 3 coats, and I did find that that 3rd coat did cover up my visible nail line. The shimmer slash micro flake in this polish is not going to dry down texture. It's going to be super duper easy to remove, just on the more messy side. This polish also dries down dull, so you will for sure want top coat for a nice glossy finish, as well as for the polish to actually dry. The next polish up is called Brite Where I Belong. This is another pink tone shade where the other polishes were very in that kind of bright to medium pink shade. I found on the 1st coat, it looked like a pink. I found by the time I built this one up, I was changing my opinion on calling this one a pink. It was a lot more red leaning. It's a very pinky red. Is it a reddish pink or pinky red?
Maybe, yeah, sure.
I am personally undecided, but it is very heavily a reddish kind of color. This is a fairly warm tone shade, and I did have fairly obvious visible nail line with it. I would say this is kind of like a jelly polish almost. On the OPI website, they're describing this polish as being a cream. I personally would say that this is a very opaque jelly. It's kind of an interesting jelly. It has the sheerness of the jelly, but it lacks the squish factor. I don't know why or how that is. I think it has just like maybe a little bit too much pigment to it, and that's why you lose the kind of squishy vibe of the jelly, but it it still is a jelly, but not a squishy jelly. I feel like none of that makes any sense. Hopefully it makes sense on screen because I don't know how else to describe it. Like, I feel like this could be described as a very pigmented jelly, but it doesn't look squishy on the nail. I feel like for me, myself, who very frequent with jelly nail polishes, I frequently just wear them on their own. So I tend to prefer my jellies to have more pigmentation in them just because I like to have like a nice amount of like color saturation on the nail with them built up in 3 coats. I feel like this polish is for that kind of jelly user. I could see someone who's like very creative using this for nail art. Like there's some nail art possibilities because, you know, it's nail polish. Of course, there's nail art possibilities. But I feel like this is really good for the user who just wants to like apply the jelly on their nails and that's it and move on, maybe throw a topper on it. I feel like this might be just like a smidge too opaque for a lot of kind of jelly sandwiches. I feel like if you put this over another polish, you might lose whatever you put on well, underneath of it. I am struggling with words. But Brite Where It Belongs is a really beautiful tone of pink. Even in 3 coats, I did have some obvious visible nailing with this shade because again, it's very jelly leaning, but super duper easy removal, and I did not personally experience any staining with it. The next polish up is called Dopa-mani. For Dopa-mani, I would say that this is a very similar polish to If You Like Pinka Colada. The biggest difference between these 2 colors is I would say this is the cooler tone version of a medium pink with that same kind of like whitish silvery shimmer slash flake, but just in a cooler version to it from what we saw earlier in the collection. Dopa-mani also had a pretty good formula. This is going to be another 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference and application style. I once again found that that 3rd coat did indeed cover up my visible nail line, but coverage was overall fairly even in 2 coats. And again, we do have that same kind of silvery whitish shimmer, or is it a flaky? I still don't know. It doesn't really have any texture, so I'm leaning strongly towards a really larger particle shimmer as opposed to like a flaky, but you can definitely see the particle sizes of it, which makes me want to call it a flaky just because of how large they are. This is going to remove super duper easily because it's basically just like a shimmer. Is this going to be on the more messy side? Soak off method, peel off base coat, scrub it, do what you want with it. This next part of the video is where everything started going downhill for me. You're going to notice from this point forward, every time I start my live swatches, my nail is going to be a different color. I got stained so badly throughout this whole video. From here on out, you're gonna hear me saying, I was stained, I was stained. I just wanna make it clear, all of the staining that I've received while swatching these polishes was strictly on my overlay. I broke my thumbnail a few months ago and I had a patch on it and my nail was like a little bit wonky. On top of the patch on my broken nail, I put on some gel. I put like a gel overlay on top of the patch just to add more strength and so that I can keep swatching on my nail. The only polish that I found actually seemed to stain my actual natural nail was at the end of the video was the purple for context. So you have that explanation, and now enjoy my finger changing colors throughout the whole video. It turns green at some point, so yeah. The next polish up is called Your Zestination Awaits. I would describe this as a warm orange jelly. Your Zestination Awaits had a really nice formula. This applied really nicely, very beautifully. I love this tone and the color. This is very tang coated in my mind. While I do describe the orange on this as a warmer toned orange, it's not so warm toned that it appeared red. I don't foresee this being the kind of warm orange that kind of pulls like lobster hands on me. This is a really fun and bright orange color, and I feel like this could work for both summer and fall. I feel like oranges, I don't know, I feel like oranges are very summery and also very fall-y.
That's not a word.
Fall-y? I absolutely love this color, but this stained my overlay so badly. It was so incredibly stained. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen like me posting my nail, like just changing colors throughout all of the swatches. This was the beginning of the staining, and it looks rough. I opted to swatch Your Zestination Awaits in 3 coats because I just wanted to see how opaque it potentially could get. It gets pretty dang opaque. I will say one thing about all of like the more jelly leaning polishes in this collection, that they all do get very opaque. Still, you have obvious visible nail line, but as far as jellies go, they're very, very, very pigmented. This polish does write down fairly dull on its own, and it also does not have that kind of squishy factor that jellies have. Again, I think it's because it has so much pigmentation that you kind of lose the squish factor, even though you still have the VNL. So you will for sure want some glossy top coat with this one as it dries down a little bit flat, but super easy removal because it's a jelly. Be very cautious on removal. I got staining. I didn't notice any on my exposed natural nail, but I feel like this amount of pigmentation, there is some potential for staining. The next polish up is called Painting on Sunshine, and I would describe this one as a super bright, neon-esque yellow that has that same kind of silvery, whitish shimmer or flaky in it that we've seen earlier in the release. And yes, this one also was a stainer on me. I absolutely love this bright yellow. This is very much the kind of yellow that I want to see in summertime. I don't know yet, as I'm recording this, I don't know if this is actually a neon or if it's just like so ridiculously bright that it reads like a neon without the kind of UV black lighty glowiness. It reads like a neon to my eyes. It's really, really bright. Formula wise, I would say this has a pretty good formula. The same as like the other ones in this formulation that we saw earlier. So it's another 2 to 3 coater. My swatches are gonna be showing it in 3 coats, however. While I was swatching this one, I really was thinking about how far yellows have come, especially for like mainstream brands. I feel like once upon a time, if you saw a yellow, you knew the formula was gonna be trash. And we've really come such a long way. This was really good, especially for a yellow, which I feel like I should stop saying especially for a yellow, because as I just said, yellows have gotten really good. So I feel like I should stop saying especially for a yellow when we don't really have too many bad formulations with yellows anymore anyway, but I digress. Super easy removal, just on the more messy side if you scrub this one off. Soak off, peel off, base coat, you know the deal. The next polish up is called Lime of My Life, and this is a super bright green with that same silver shimmery flaky thing that I don't know what it is still. Similarly to all the other shimmery ones that we saw earlier, this is the exact same formulation, 2 to 3 coater. It applies really nicely, not too thick or too thin, just good formulation all around. In truth, I feel like I would have liked this one a lot more if it was a cream. I don't really care for the shimmer in this, honestly, truthfully. It's not, I don't like it.
I don't like it.
This was another stainer on me. This stained my nails hyper, like it was just so green. Like I feel like the picture that I took, you really can't see how green it is. This is another one that I'd call a 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference and application style. Well, largely just personal preference. My swatches show Lime of My Life in 3 coats plus glossy top coat. This does dry down a little bit dull, but not textured at all. Easy removal, just a little bit on the messier side. The next polish up is called Sky's the Limit. This polish is more of a kind of turquoisey leaning polish that has that same silvery whitish shimmer. I'm just gonna call it a shimmer from now. I'm calling it a shimmer. It's a shimmer. It has that same silvery whitish shimmer that we've seen time and time again in this collection. Sky Blue's The Limit had a really good formula. Color wise, I feel like I want to call this one a blue shade because it quite literally is in the name of the polish, but there is like a little bit of a turquoisey greenish lean to it, especially when you put this next to like other blues. That greeny turquoisiness in it is going to come out a lot stronger. The shimmer in this polish looks pretty nice. Like I said earlier, I don't really care for the shimmer very much, but I did like how it looked in this base color at least. This is going to be another 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference. My swatches are going to be showing this one in 3 coats. Very slight visible nailing with this shade. I feel like in brighter lighting, like natural lighting, like if my hand was like up in the air, I feel like the visible nailing would be a lot more visible than it was in my live swatch here. Super easy removal, just slightly on the more messy side. The next polish up is called Seize the Day. This is a beautiful, bright, summery, cobalty kind of blue. This tone of blue is the kind of blue that if I was checking out at like TJ Maxx and I walk past the little nail display and I see this there, I'm gonna stop and pick it up even though I quite literally have 30 things that look exactly like this. This is that tone of blue for me. It's absolutely beautiful. Formula-wise, this had a pretty good formula. It self-leveled nicely, applied really nicely as well. On the first coat, this one was a little bit sheer. As a cobalt blue connoisseur, I will say I do feel like this applied like I would expect a cobalt blue cream to apply. First coat's like a little bit thin, a little bit sheer, but it builds up really nicely. This is gonna be one of those kind of 2 to 3 coater cobalt blues. I feel like I tried extra hard to get this one to be opaque in 2 coats. I feel like if I went in for super thinner coats, I might potentially have needed a 3rd. As a cobalt blue connoisseur, I have a lot of cobalt blues that need 3 coats, at least on my nails at least. So because I love tones of blue in this color family, I don't personally mind adding a 3rd coat because the color just makes me so happy. But I know for some people, they don't like that, and that's fine too. This is an absolutely beautiful tone of blue. I eat this up every single time. Like, I don't know why this color does something to my brain, but it's absolutely stunning. Super easy removal. I did not personally notice any staining on my nail when I removed this shade, but it was already like bright green at that point, and I just was at a loss. The next polish up is called Catch a Wave of Happiness. This was actually the polish in the collection that I was most excited for. I saw a live swatch of this on the OPI social media page, and my immediate thought was,
damn, what is that, bro?
I would describe this though as more of a royal blue jelly polish. It is very jelly leaning, and once again, similarly to the other jelly shades in this release, it doesn't have that kind of squishy vibe that jelly shades have, but you do have like the sheerness levels, and this applied really, really nicely. It's got a lot of pigmentation in it. So again, like I said earlier, I feel like this would be a really good jelly shade for somebody who just wants kind of like a jelly polish on their nails. I feel like there's some potential for nail arting with this one, but I feel like it'll be a little bit more difficult to like have it to put things underneath of it to see them very clearly. At least if you do multiple coats, it's gonna block things out a little bit, I think. I would say I reached like 90% opacity with this shade when I built it up in 3 coats. It applies really evenly, so like you don't have to build it up that much, but like it's such a beautiful color. So saturated, so beautiful. This is another color I feel like this would be really good, like a transitional towards fall. I feel like this is not like a true summer shade in my opinion. I feel like it's like a little bit too dark. I will say, however, I feel like this is darker on the nail than it appears in the bottle, which is a little bit weird. I noticed after I added my top coat that it just looks so much darker on my nail than it was looking in the bottle, and it was a little bit of a bummer because I love the color in the bottle so very much. Super easy removal, it's a jelly. Because I quite literally just released a collaboration with Cert Colors that featured a cobalt blue jelly, I figured somebody might be curious to see how this polish compares to my jelly with Cert Colors called Marine Jelly. This is significantly darker on the nail than my polish is. It also has quite a bit more pigmentation than my polish does. Marine Jelly is very much like your quintessential jelly. It is both pigmented where you can really see that beautiful cobalt blue color, but there's still like significantly more visible nail line with my jelly than this jelly does. I feel like the tones of blue are also 2 completely different vibes. The next polish up is called Glowing on Vacay. The tone of this purple, this is the kind of purple that I see in a summer collection and it gets called a neon. Is it a neon? I don't know, but this is the kind of color purple that I see get called a neon purple, so I guess we can call it one. This is a more cool tone purple. The polish after this is going to be a more warm tone purple. While OPI does seem to describe this one as a cream, I feel like this one has a bit more of a crelly lean to it. It doesn't have the squish factor, but as far as like sheerness goes, it is more crelly leaning than a cream leaning in my opinion. I'm gonna call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on your application style. I found on my nails in 2 coats, I had a little bit more unevenness than I would like in 2 coats, so I added a 3rd for that reason. I do think that if I potentially had worked this one a little bit more with like a thicker coat, I might have been able to get this one good in 2, but I just opted to just do 3. I was doing pretty good with my application the day that I swatched this one out, and I wasn't like overworking like crazy. I just had like this gut feeling that this was not in fact gonna like being overworked, which is why I tried not to overwork it. I like this tone of purple. It's really bright and fun for summer. Since this is a cream shade, it's gonna be super duper easier to remove. I did not personally experience any staining with this shade, but as always, double up on base coat if you're concerned about that kind of thing. I'm also kind of relieved that these last couple of polishes didn't have that shimmer that we saw earlier in the release. I just don't like that shimmer. I'm sorry, this is like the 15th millionth time I said that in this video. The final polish in this release is called Ultraviolet Daze, and I would describe this as more of a warm toned purple. It's the kind of warm tone that's leaning like a little bit towards like a fuchsia. Like whether you call this one a purple or a fuchsia, I think is going to come down to everyone's eyeballs. This is another crelly leaning cream. Is it a complete crelly? I don't know, but I feel like it just leans a little bit in the crelly department. It's a bit more sheer than OPI's normal cream formula. Ultraviolet Daze is the only polish in this collection that after 3 coats, I still could see a little bit of unevenness on my nail. It wasn't the worst thing ever. I found once I added top coat, it wasn't like I really had to look for unevenness to see it. So I did like kind of need the 3 coats for this one, and it was still just like a smidge uneven if I really looked for it. I will still say it did self-level pretty nicely. I was a little bit surprised that I could still see the unevenness, but I think it's because the base might just be like a smidge more sheer than normal. So, and I also did have very slight visible nail line after the 3 coats. I do like this tone of purple. I'm not usually a big fan of like very warm tone purples, but I kind of could mess with this one. Like, it's kind of cute. I liked it. For this polish in the collection, when I removed it, I did notice around my cuticle line where my natural nail is kind of exposed, like not like covered in the gel because my nail grew since I put on the overlay. I did notice that I had kind of like a pinky purple staining along my skin and a little bit on my nails. It doesn't look like it's stuck around permanently, but I find for a polish that was only on for a few minutes, the fact that like it stained my skin and nails a little bit upon removal doesn't bode great for it not being a stainer. So definitely, if you're concerned about staining, make sure to wear multiple layers of your base coat. Super easy removal, however, because it is in fact a curly cream thing. All right, so final thoughts time. I really enjoy the overall color story of this collection. This is a super bright and fun summer collection. This is what like I want from a summer collection. I love that we have a whole rainbow in the collection. As a pink lover, I both love and hate the fact that there are 4 polishes that could be described as pink in this collection. I feel like for a 12-piece release, I feel like we could have had a bit more color variances. Like if we had 2 of each color, I feel like that would be a bit more balanced than say 4 pinks. I don't know why I so strongly disliked that shimmer in these polishes. In truth, I feel like I don't usually love OPI shimmers now that I said that out loud. They're just not for me. I like my shimmers color shifty or golden or just really sparkly, and these just didn't really do anything for me. I would have been just as happy if these had all just been creams because they're just like really fun, bright colors, and I like that in a cream. I don't think this was a bad release at all. I would love to know what everyone else thought of this release. Are you planning on picking this? Have you already picked them? Are you waiting for them to appear in TJ Maxx? Let me know all of your thoughts and feelings on these. This is probably an unpopular opinion. I didn't love OPI's spring collection, and I saw for the fall collection, it seems that they are re-releasing past popular fall shades, and I feel like I'm the only one who's not like super excited about that.
Not for me, mate.
I am sure not a single person who's watching this video is going to be shocked at all that my topic for this release is going to be Seize the Day. Shocker, Nicole picked the cobalt blue. No, not a single person is surprised by that information. I like that color a lot. I don't know why. I really, really, really enjoy that color. It just does something to my brain. It's so dang pretty. As far as pricing and sale information goes, the Trip to the Bright Side collection is available right now in all the places where OPI is sold. OPI prices these polishes at $11.99 for a 15 ml bottle with a lovely broomstick brush. I feel that OPI changing their brush, I feel like it's going to happen. They changed the brush on their gel polishes to a rounded paddle. They changed the brush on their quick dry polishes to a rounded paddle brush. I feel like the main polishes are going to get changed at any point now. I just find it hard to believe that they're using this many different brushes. It's going to happen. We're not going to keep the broomstick eventually. I do believe that OPI considers this release limited edition. I feel like their summer collections are usually limited edition. Since we're at the end of the day, I'm just going to include some yapping. As I was sitting here thinking about like upcoming fall collections, I just Googled China Glaze Fall 2026, and I got really excited because I thought I found a China Glaze Fall 2026 collection from Beyond Polish, but I'll put a picture here. But it's just some re-promoted shades that came out earlier in this year that are like kind of fall coated as opposed to like an actual fall collection. We have a display, I guess. Oh my God. Disappointed! If you like the vibes around here and you want to like yap some more, I have a Discord server. You can come hang out. Before we end today's video, I want to give a very special shout out to my channel members. Shenanigans, Story Fans, your names of course, all on the screen right now. But as always, my channel memberships is completely optional. Just like the video, comment the video, share, subscribe, all the things, and seriously, we are good. If you really like my mug, don't forget to follow me across my other social media platforms. I am everywhere. So just thank you all for joining me for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for all the run-on thoughts. I am having a day. So just have a great one, folks, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Bye, guys! I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Brite. Yeah, I'm headed
to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like, yeah.